Hi, my name is Joanne. Welcome back to 123stitch.com. So you've picked out a pattern that you want to stitch, and now you need to figure out what size fabric and needle to buy. Well, we have some amazing tools on our website that are easy to use, and they're going to help you figure out exactly what you need. I can't wait to show them to you. First, don't forget to click on the thumbs up button and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on anything. Before we get started, let's talk about what we mean by fabric count. Cross-stitch fabric is listed by the number of threads or holes per inch. I have some Aida examples here. On this pretty sparkly 14 count Aida, you can see that I can get 14 X's in 1 inch. On this 16 count Aida, I can get 16 X's in that same 1 inch. And then on this 18 count Aida, there are 18 tiny little X's in that same 1 inch. So you can see that the higher the fabric count, the smaller the X will be. Evenweave and linen fabrics typically have higher stitch counts. Examples would be 28 count, 32, 36, 40, and even up to 56 count. With that many threads per inch, the X's would be very tiny. Here's an example of a 28 count even weave, and you can see I have 28 teeny tiny little X's in that 1 inch. But thankfully, we normally stitch over 2 threads on higher count fabrics, so that means it ends up looking more like this, 14 X's in that same inch. Now let's take a look at those calculators. From the 123stitch.com homepage, we can see a green bar with a lot of different choices across the top, such as quilt fabrics and patterns, fabric for needleworks, cross-stitch patterns, etc. If I click on any one of them, a bunch of fun options come up where we can go on the website and explore different topics and look at the sales. Today, we're going to concentrate on calculators and conversions. When I click on that link, a drop-down box comes up with over 15 calculators and thread conversion charts, as well as some other fun things like the message board and how to cross-stitch. Today, we're going to concentrate on the linen Evenweave calculator, the Aida fabric calculator, the needle size calculator, and the cross-stitch count converter. To demonstrate how the calculators work, I'm going to use this pattern, Life is Not Measured by Lizzie Kate. If we look on the back of the pattern, we can see that the model was stitched over 2 threads on 32 count lambswool linen. The stitch count is listed as 51 wide by 149 high. What that means is that at its widest point, the pattern is 51 stitches across, and at its tallest point, it's 149 stitches high. Since our pattern was stitched on a 32 count linen, I'm going to click on the linen Evenweave calculator first. The first question I'm asked is, how big is the pattern? We remember from the back of the pattern, it said that it was 51 stitches high or wide by 149 stitches high. The next question is extra fabric on each side. Now this means how much fabric would you like around the design for finishing and framing? It's generally recommended that you do 2 to 3 inches. I'm going to do 3 inches. What count is the fabric? The pattern said it was done on a 32 count. And then the next question is threads covered per X. And the pattern again stated to do it over 2 threads. And we can see that the results tell me I'll need a piece of fabric measuring 10 inches wide by 16 inches high. The stitched area will be 3.19 inches wide by 9.31 inches high. There's also suggestions for needle and number of strands used for stitching. So in this case, it's saying I should use a size 28 tapestry needle and to stitch cross stitches with 2 strands and back stitch with just 1 strand of fabric. The beauty of cross stitch is you can either stitch it exactly as the designer did, or you can change it up a bit to suit your own taste. Let's say that I would prefer to stitch this on a 14 count Aida instead of linen. Let's pull up the Aida fabric calculator to see what size fabric I might need. Under how big is the pattern, we're again going to put in 51 stitches wide and 149 stitches high. For extra fabric on each side, we'll again put in 3. And for what count is the Aida, we're going to put in 14 squares per inch. When we click on Calculate Size, we can see that we will now need a fabric size measuring about 10 inches by 17 inches. The stitched area will be 3.64 inches wide by 10.64 inches high. And again, the suggestions for a tapestry needle would be a size 24, using 2 strands of floss for cross stitches and 1 strand for back stitch. Another really useful tool on the website is the cross-stitch count converter. This is a really useful tool if you want to make the design bigger or smaller than the model. The only way to change a design size is to change the count of the fabric. Remember, the higher the fabric count, the smaller the X's. So we're going to go to the cross-stitch count converter. And let's say that I have a pattern that is 10 inches wide by 10 inches high on a 32 count fabric, and I want to change that up. I want to try a 28 count and see what size that makes the design. So I'm going to put under what is the current size, 10 inches wide by 10 inches high, and the current count is 32, and the new count, I'm going to put 28, and then the results show me the new size will be 11.4 inches wide by 11.4 inches high instead of the original 10 by 10. What if that's too big? I actually want to go smaller. We're going to change that up. We're going to keep the current size 10 by 10 on a 32 count fabric, but now I'm going to see what size it is on a 36 count fabric. So here I'm going to put 36 and then calculate size. So now I can see that my converted size is 8.9 inches wide by 8.9 inches high. So you can see that by playing around with fabric count, you can change the design size a little bit. The last tool I want to show you is the needle size calculator. This handy page will give you the right size needle for the project you're working on. It also gives you a quick guide to types of needles and what the sizes mean. And also there's a handy little link here if you want to shop for needles on our website. I hope you found this information helpful. If you have any questions or comments, please let us know in the comments section below. We do read all of them and love to hear from you. Thanks for visiting with us today, and we'll see you again soon.